Le Comité pour la Sécurité.
Mr. Speaker, the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians has indicated that members of this House purposely helped hostile foreign actors. Canadians have a right to know who and what the information was.
The committee indicates there are members of this House that have knowingly worked for foreign hostile governments. Canadians have a right to know who and what is the information. Who are they?
The Honourable Minister of Public Safety.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition knows very well that no government, including the government of which he was a member, is going to discuss particularities of intelligence information publicly, so he knows better than that. But the good news, Mr. Speaker, is if he wanted to get the appropriate security clearance and be able to see the confidential report of the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians, he would be much more informed than he is now, and we would invite him to do so he wouldn't stand up and cast aspersions on the floor of the House of Commons without any information whatsoever.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, we don't need secrets and confidentiality. That's what got us into this problem in the first place. What we need are the facts so that Canadians can judge. Just like in the case of the Green Slush Fund, the Auditor General revealed $123 million of spending that broke the rules, $59 million of projects that never should have been awarded money at all, $76 million in money gone to companies connected to the Liberal-appointed members, including $217,000 to the chair of the fund that was giving out the money. Will the government support our common sense plan to hand over all this information to the RCMP for a police investigation?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it is no surprise that today the Conservatives don't want to talk about the economy. But we know that the economy is the issue that most concerns Canadians.
Right.
And that is why I am so glad to share some great news. Today, the Bank of Canada lowered interest rates. Canada is the first country in the G7 where the rates have gone down, and it is thanks to our economically responsible fiscal plan. Our plan is working.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
After 9 years of this Prime Minister, with the support of the Bloc Québécois, Montreal is in a state of chaos, crime, drugs, and disorder. Children need police escorts to go to preschool. So will this government accept the Conservative demand to refuse the exemption to the criminal code in order to prevent supervised injection sites from opening next to preschools and schools? The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, once again, it's not surprising that the Conservative leader does not want to discuss the economy. But we know that the economy is the issue that Canadians care about the most. And that is why I'm so happy to share a piece of good news, which is that today the Bank of Canada lowered the benchmark interest rate.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
And interest rates remain 20 times higher they were when that member promised that they would go down. Remember when she said the big risk was deflation and low rates? Well, she was exactly wrong then, and she's even more wrong now. Mr. Speaker, 6 years ago, I said there was a carbon tax cover-up. The government wouldn't reveal the true cost of its carbon tax. Then they published information claiming everyone was better off. Now we find out that there is a secret report showing that with the economic costs considered, the vast majority of Canadians are paying more. Will the government end the gag order, stop the carbon tax cover-up, and release the report?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance.
You know, Mr. Speaker, it is just really sad and shameful that the Conservatives continue to talk down the Canadian economy and that they are unable to celebrate our great country. But the reality is, Mr. Speaker, this has been a great week for Canada. Yes. First, the Oilers made it to the Stanley Cup Finals. And then today, the Bank of Canada lowered interest rates. Canada's on a roll, Mr. Speaker. Our plan is working.
The Honourable Leader of the Official Opposition.
Speaker, the government has put the parliamentary budget officer under a gag order. In fact, I have a copy of the gag order right here, and it says, this is a letter from the Environment Minister to the parliamentary budget officer. The department is providing information that is unpublished. As such, I request you to ensure that this information is used for your office's internal purposes only and is not published or further distributed. They don't want Canadians to know the true cost of the carbon tax. Why won't they end the gag order, stop the carbon tax cover-up, and release this report today?
The Honourable Deputy Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the person who seems to be laboring under a gag order is the Conservative leader. And that gag order seems to prevent him from saying anything positive about our amazing country. The fact is, today is a day of really good news. The Bank of Canada has lowered interest rates. Canada is the first G7 country to lower rates. Our government's economically responsible plan has created the conditions that made that possible.